Genshin Impact has finally released one of the most highly anticipated characters since the release of Natlan, being Mavuika. Whether you are someone who has been playing for a while and looking for a new insanely powerful damage dealer, or a replacement for Xiangling, or if you are a newer player in need of a good DPS option, she is a great character to pull for. I'll be going through what you need to know when playing Mavuika, including how to use her kit effectively, not including in rotations, examples of her best team compositions, and the optimal ways to build her for various wars. Let's dive into it now, shall we? Mavuika is a uniquely versatile character who can thrive both as a busted Pyro DPS hypercarry or as a sub-DPS in various team compositions. Her potential in both roles makes her a highly adaptable choice for many team setups. Let's break down how to get the most out of her depending on either your preferred playstyle or what you'd need for your teams. When played as a main DPS, Mavuika's explosive damage output makes her a formidable force. She can be used in a variety of pyro-centered teams, and her ability to trigger powerful elemental reactions like Melt, Vaporize, Overload, and even Burn makes her highly flexible. Here's how you can utilize her in different team comps. A typical Melt comp for Mavuika includes pairing her with a cryo character who can apply good amounts of cryo to trigger melt reactions. The ideal team members are Citalali for her melt buffs and Bennett for the healing and attack buffs he provides. A Hydro sub-DPS like Furina, Yelan, or Xingqiu can further support, providing Hydro application to add vape or freeze reactions to the team, or just for the buffs that the characters provide. For Vaporize teams, you'll want to pair Mavuika with a Hydro character like Furina alongside Bennett for the buffs and a Res Shredder like Zelonin, Kazuha, or Zhongli to maximize her damage output. For Overload comps, you'll want an Electro sub-DPS character like Fissor, Yae Miko, or Oawan to pair with Mavuika. Bennett is, as always, incredible heal for providing attack buffs and his healing. And since it's an Overload team, you'll need Sevrus, since the damage from the team comes from her buffs and not the reaction of Overload itself. As a sub-DPS, Mavuika excels in providing consistent pyro application for your main DPS. She's particularly useful in teams focused on Burn, Melt, or Vaporize, just like when being used as a main DPS, where her pyro application can help trigger these reactions effectively. However, there are some nuances to consider when building her for this role. In Melt teams, although Mavuika can be a good sub-DPS, it's generally better to have her as the main DPS because of Citalali's Melt buffs, which apply primarily to Pyro and Hydro DPS characters. If you opt to use her as a sub-DPS, you'd want a Cryo main DPS like Ayaka, Wisely, or Ganyu, who can capitalize on the Melt reaction even if they don't get Citalali's main buffs. In a Vaporize comp, Mavuika can work well as a sub-DPS alongside Hydro main DPS characters like Nuvolette or Mualani. Pairing her with a damage buffer or a Res Shredder will ensure that the Vaporize reactions hit as hard as possible. Mavuika also shines as a sub-DPS in Burn comps, where her high damage and pyro application can support the main DPS. A great team comp for this would feature Kanix as the main DPS, Emily as a secondary sub-DPS, and Bennett for healing and buffing. If you're worried about damaging yourself via self-burn, you could consider using a Sealed like Toma or C4 plus Yanfei, though I personally recommend Yanfei because of her weapon synergy with Thrill Tales of the Dragon Slayer, which can boost the attack of the main DPS, which would be in this case Kanix, or Mavuika. Or you could also use Favonius Codex if you need more energy on the other characters. Whether you're using her as either a main DPS or sub-DPS, understand how to use her abilities is crucial to unlocking her full potential. The key to playing Mavuika as a main DPS is to make the most out of her Fighting Spirit mechanic. Before using her burst, you need to gather Fighting Spirit by consuming Night Soul points and dealing damage with normal attacks. To do this, activate her Flame Strider skill, either by holding or tapping the skill button, to enter her enhanced Night Soul's Blessing state and using her normal attacks. Each hit increases her fight and spirit amount, and once you have enough, activate her burst to unleash massive damage and get a significant boost in damage output through her passive. You want to prioritize keeping her Flame Strider active to deal the most damage and generating fight and spirit quickly to optimize her burst uptime, since that is where most of your damage comes from. When playing Mavuika as a sub-DPS, the focus is still her burst, which automatically activates her Night Soul's Blessing state, but instead of continuing to attack, you swap out to your main DPS to use the off-field pyro application. If her burst isn't ready, use her skill by tapping the button instead of holding it to apply pyro, then quickly swap out for your main DPS. Now, let's dive into how to build Mavuika for the role you're playing her in, main DPS or sub-DPS, starting with the weapons. Her best weapon is undoubtedly her signature weapon, 1000 Blazing Suns, which boosts her crit rate, crit damage, as well as her attack. Alternative 5-star weapons would be the Wolf's Gravestone and Beacon of the Weed Sea. Both are excellent choices for a damage-focused build, with Redhorn Stone Thresher being another great but not as good choice. But if you're using her in a Born team, then the Fang of the Mountain King is also an excellent pick. For 4-star options, if you are going for a more budget-friendly build and don't have 5-star choices, then the Serpent Spine is a solid option but requires the Battle Pass. Or you could use the Mailed Flower or Tidal Shadow as alternatives. Next up are the artifacts. For a main DPS setup, the Obsidian Codex set is her best option, providing bonuses to her attack in the Night Soul state and crit rate buffs when consuming Night Soul points. You can also consider using Gladiator's Finale for more general build, or if you have good pieces already, or even Crimson Wicks of Flames for increased elemental reactions, but not quite as good. As a sub-DPS, the Scroll of the Hero of the Cinder City set offers excellent bonuses for your team, but you can also use Obsidian Codex if you're looking to maximize your damage, without the bonuses to the team. Now for talents. Your priority when building Mavuika. Focus on leveling her burst first, as this is her primary source of damage, especially when used as a main DPS. After that, level her skill for increased off-field damage when she's used as a sub-DPS. But her normal attack is never used, as her Flame Strider replaces it with its own damage stats, and since she has little downtime, you'd mainly be spending that downtime with the rest of her team for buffs. Mavuika is a powerhouse character with incredible flexibility, whether you're running her as a main DPS or a sub-DPS, her potential in various team setups, be it Melt, Vaporize, or Born, gives her an edge in most teams compared to other pyro DPS options. With the right weapon, artifacts, and team composition, Mavuika can become one of the most valuable characters in your account. If you found this guide helpful and want more character guides, be sure to check out my channel here, or head over to my Hurrier Lab account for more detailed builds and character guides for both Genshin and ZZZ.